And hello everybody, it is December 13, late at night. I haven't
Very few privileged individuals.
haven't been updating for quite some time. Just really busy with many other things generally. But yeah, I really wanna make more videos and just help you guys because there's so much going on, and I think it's hard to really keep track of what's going on. So the market is pretty down. People say that okay, so we're not in the bear market, but it's going to be a retracement, maybe to 40,000 for Bitcoin, and then go back up to the 80s. And I don't think we're over here with the bull market, but this is how it goes. It can crash down, and now I think the fear index is really high, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes down even a little further and people really freak out and sell. But the no hodlers, the ones that have been doing this for quite some time, they know just hodl these things. Hodl. It's a bloodbath out there, but it's not the first one. So you probably know. If not, if this is your first big drop, now you know. Yeah, now you know the feeling when everybody is hyping and it will never go away and everything is great. Every new NFT is awesome and there's all these metaverses. That's the moment when you want to start taking your profits. And now, where we are in a place where nobody really hypes much, nobody's really excited, that's the point where you want to buy, because most people now are emotional and they sell because they fear that it will go into the what is it, oblivion? What do you call it in English? Something like that. Anyways, I don't really want to talk too much about the prices. I much more want to talk about the fundamentals. And I watched this interesting video here. If you go to YouTube, there's an interesting talk with Gavin, Edward Snowden, and Dylan from Kylin. And I just want to, they have really interesting points, which I think it's strange that we don't really talk too much about it. Mainly, the first point is CBDC issued stablecoins. So basically, it's a coin that is issued by a central bank, and it represents a digital form of a US dollar. And the problem with these is, and Edwards explains that pretty well, that they could just swap the whole system to these CBDCs, and then you get a certain amount of coins every whatever month. But they can put in rules of how you can use this, how long you can use it. Yeah, so the negative side of smart contracts or these digital coins based on smart contracts is they can put in certain things into these contracts where they can say, okay, if you don't use your money until the 1st of January, you will lose it. It will just be gone. Or you can only use it for food. I mean, down the road, you could think of he's a malicious guy. We don't like what he's doing, so let's just punish him a little bit. You cannot buy your stereo that you wanted to buy, or you cannot use your car anymore, or whatever, right? You cannot go to the cinema anymore. And they could eventually build that into a smart contract for these coins, and then you cannot use it. They can block your wallet. So it's one thing to just be aware of, right? Because there's other stable coins that are really decentralized and backed by collateral that you can see and that is owned by the community. So there is actually real value behind it, and you cannot just close wallets, because that's the whole idea, right, about cryptos in general. For a lot of people is, you own your stuff and you can do whatever you want with it. And so these CBDCs are kind of a counter strike towards that. I don't know. It's just a thing, I think, to be aware of. Another point to talk about, which is interesting, is the whole Web3. So if that is going to benefit humans or not. And I like what Gavin says, that he wouldn't work 15 hours a day for that if you wouldn't think there's some gain in total for humanity. But I think it comes down to the point that it really depends on what we do, on how you and I implement this, how we work with it. Do we stay aware, or do we just follow what is told by some people? So what comes with this is responsibility. Yeah, so and I think that's something we haven't really grasped yet in a broad term, is if this really is supposed to help humans, we have to become responsible. If you want to be free, you have to be responsible. If you really want to be free what to do with your money, you are responsible what happens with it. So I find that a very interesting point that we don't really talk or hear too much about it. And again, if you want to see the whole video, it's 50 minutes. I highly recommend it. Also just to see some interesting points from people that are involved in different aspects, but very much with technology and security and identity. Another point is these NFTs, and you probably know, right? It's pretty hyped right now. But Edward brings an interesting point that it's kind of like making a fake scarcity online. So, you have like a land, and in order to use something in there, you have to pay for it. Like, let's say you have, land, and you have a house, and you have some inventory, and you want to change something or paint the wall. He brings as an example, you have to on a sudden pay for this, and they could do this. So it brings another risk with NFTs, mainly being creating fake scarcity online on something that shouldn't be scarce, just so people pay more and are more, slaves to the monetary system. In a way, it's a different aspect, but I get the point, and it's interesting. And again, I think it comes back to, us as humans in general. Do we want that? Do we go for that? Are we really, we probably would pay for that because it's a status maybe to have a house in the digital world. And then if you want to paint it and it's in to have a greenhouse, or I don't know, and you pay $20 for it, and people probably pay it. So, is that wrong? Is it not wrong? I don't know. It really goes into philosophical questions, but I found it very interesting. How these things are used and developed, because there's obvious other ways to use NFTs. But I found this a very interesting point to look at. And the last point actually they talk about is identity, and how that will be protected or not so protected in the crypto space. And I think that's probably one of the most important points, because we will eventually probably have digital identities, like DNA linked to the blockchain and stored, and then a lot of things about yourself can be stored on the blockchain, and you probably have your own digital avatar in a way that represents you. And all this data is stored on the blockchain, and how is that being used? Who is monetizing on top of it? It's a very, very important question, because I think it will at some point happen that we will go there. And I think these are very interesting points we have to really think about and talk about. And so I'm just making this video to bring a little awareness to this. So that was basically it. I don't want to talk for too long, because you all have a lot of other things to do, I'm sure. But for now, just chill. I think this will not go away. It might have a little dive. We might not buy the Lambos this Christmas, maybe next. But I think it will still stay around. All right, I wish you all a wonderful night, a good day. Be blessed, stay sane, and relax. It's gonna be good.